Welcome back to the Daniela Cambone Show. Well, a recent New York Fed survey finds that Americans see no sign of relief and they expect inflation to keep burning a hole in their pocket. To talk about this and so much more, Todd Bubba Horwitz is back of BubbaTrading.com. Bubba, always good to see you. You came all decked out for me today.
Daniela, I have to be my best for you, and happy Mother's Day to you for yesterday. What a great
Best
day for you, and we got to be ready
my
to go because we might
my
not have any money left soon.
You know what? My mom would always tell me, you're going to see Mother's Day will be your favorite day of the year. So now I know exactly what she's talking about. All right. But let's talk about some ugly stuff here. No surprise to you, I'm sure, Bubba. U.S. consumer expectations for inflation and home prices rose in April while perceptions of the labor market weakened, underscoring an uneasy backdrop for household finances and the cost of living. So, summing it all up, this New York Fed survey finds that Americans are not expecting inflation to cool anytime soon. They're still feeling it in their pockets. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, we're going into stagflation, which is the worst. And if you heard Jerome Powell when he gave his press conference, that he doesn't know nothing about stag and not knowing about inflation.
So I don't see the stag or the inflation, actually.
We're getting it. And you get the jobs that we have gotten are terrible. Okay, they're government jobs, which is not good. That does not help the taxpayer. That does not create anything more, but more debt and more responsibility for the taxpayer. So that also helps increase inflation. We have a very, very tough situation here that we're getting a big difference of class warfare now because the middle class is now being turned into the lower middle class if they are upper. And it's a very big challenge. I mean, we've got CPI and PPI coming this week, and the numbers are nowhere near accurate. The fact of the matter is that we are spending more money today than ever. We're making less money today. And the overall running of this country is more like running it into the ground instead of running it to prosper.
Let's talk more. I want to get more your insights about these misleading job numbers. And I bring this up not just in the US, but in Canada. I mean, this is bananas. Canada's labor market apparently blows past expectations, adding 90,000 jobs in April. But this is against the backdrop of the Bank of Canada just coming out warning about a very bleak and dire economic situation facing Canada. And you could say and argue the same for the US, because as the White House continues to brag about the alleged success of its economic policies, government data shows the country is hemorrhaging full-time jobs, as you say, Bubba, because according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the number of Americans reporting full-time employment dropped by more than 1.7 million jobs from November of 2023 to the end of March of 2024. So we're being fed lies regarding, or they're just, tweaking the facts surrounding the labor market. I mean, what's your take here?
Well, let's remember that numbers never lie, but the people who report them do. So let's call them liars, first of all. Again, we all focus on the headline number, but if you go back and look at the last 16 jobs reports, 14 have been revised lower. Okay. So not only don't you have the jobs that you think you have, but the jobs that they are creating are government jobs or special program jobs, which do not help the United States of America. They create more debt, they create more problems, and they make the government even bigger and more of a mass disaster than it has been already. And this is one of the problems when you destroy capitalism and you destroy the freedom of the people and you destroy free markets, which is what they're trying to do. You're going to end up in a mess, which is obviously first case will be stagflation, which is what we suffered through in the Carter years. But actually, the responsibility for the stagflation of the Carter years started with Lyndon Johnson, then went to Nixon when he went off the gold standard. And now we're dealing with the fiat currency that is absolutely worthless because it doesn't mean anything, because there's nothing backs it of any of them. It's a pure manipulation game of making prices lower and stripping the dollars of their value.
It's really interesting, Bubba, because Powell's fighting so hard, to not talk about stag or inflation. But experts that are coming on the show, like yourself, I just had Bert Doman on. He's been warning about stagflation for the longest time. Pippa Malmgren just on talking about. So experts are saying, no, we are fully headed for stagflation. My question is, do you think it's going to be as bad or worse than what we saw in the 1970s?
Worse. You have in the 1970s, whether you like Carter or not, he was still for the people. Okay, this administration is not for the people. This administration is trying to destroy people. Okay, they're trying to just look at what they're doing with the borders. Look at what they're doing with Israel. Look at what they're doing, continuing to fund money into Ukraine. They're trying to destroy what we have. I mean, they're trying to let China take over as China moves closer to this country in more key areas. Plus the fact that I'm under the opinion that China is the one that are keeping grain prices lower so they can force the farmers to sell out so they can take control of the food supply of the world. And of course, this is never a good situation. And China already owns the biggest pork producer in the world, which is Smithfield's, which was a United States company. So the administration is allowing this country to fall into the sewer. And it happens to be a very bad situation. So this is a much worse scenario that shows much less hope if this administration stays in power of getting out.